Let's see if Snow is home. Always a good way to start a ride when I see her. There you are. Hi, Snow. There you are. Hi, baby. Come here. You gonna be shy now? What do you say? What do you think? You a pretty girl? Yeah. What's going on? What do you see? Snow, by the way, is a white husky. Aren't you? Good girl. Okay, I'm gonna go for my ride. See you later. Hello and welcome to another episode of David Rides a Trike. I'm David and I'm riding a trike. I try to provide a little motivation to people with chronic illnesses and disabilities to find a fun form of outdoor exercise in order to give them a little therapeutic benefit as well as have a good time. Personally, I am both chronically ill and disabled. I was diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic when I was 1.5 years old. Although I'm no longer a diabetic, I had a pancreas transplant when I was 41 years old. I've had 3 organ transplants in all. I am blind in one eye, don't see very well out of the other. Have had stage 3 cancer and a long list of surgeries, procedures, and maladies. So it is now, we're getting into the end of March. It's officially spring. And I figured this would be a good time to talk about what any cyclist should really do in spring, and that is a tune-up on their bike or trike. Whether your bike or trike has been sitting in the garage all winter, or if you've been riding it, especially if you're riding it, chances are you've gone through some puddles with water that has road salt in it that could be quite corrosive to your bike or trike. So either way, spring is an ideal time for a tune-up. And I'm just going to go through the basics here real quickly. And the tune-up is something, if you're moderately mechanically inclined, you could do yourself. If not, you could have your local bike shop do it. Just keep in mind, due to the pandemic, bike shops are extremely busy and backed up right now, so be patient with them. I'm going to go through 6 steps, the first of which is clean your bike or trike. First thing you want to do is use a degreaser on the chain, the rear derailleur jockey wheels, and use the degreaser to get any built up greasy gunk off the rear cassette cogs or off your chain rings. Then use a damp rag or sponge to wipe down the frame and clean off any dirt, mud, dust, whatever it may be. If you're going to use a hose, be very, very careful, because even a slight amount of pressure from a garden hose can force water into some of the sealed bearings on your bike or trike, and that will cause trouble down the line for you. So you really want to avoid that if possible. Number 2 is check your chain. Chains stretch with usage and time, and a stretched chain can lead to the rear cassette getting worn very prematurely, as well as the front chain rings. So you should check your chain periodically, make sure it isn't stretched. If it is, replace it. Otherwise, replacing those other parts is going to cost you a lot more. Number 3 on the list are the brakes. Most bikes and trikes nowadays have disc brakes, and what you want to check are the pads. Pads should be about 1 millimeter thick. How thick is 1 millimeter? 3 business cards, ideally David Rides a Trike business cards, stacked on top of each other are about 1 millimeter. So put 3 cards together, hold them next to the brake pad, and see how it measures up. If the brake pad is shorter than the stack of 3 cards, replace the pads. Step number 4, check your wheels. Spin them to make sure that they're spinning freely, that there aren't any abnormalities. Oh, hi. And just no aberrations in the spin. If there is, if something looks uneven or wobbly, the wheels probably need to be trued. And that is somewhat of an art. If you don't know how to do it, I would advise against trying to do it. Let your local bike mechanic take care of that. Also, check for any loose or broken spokes. Loose spokes, tighten up, and broken spokes, of course, replace. Number 5 are your cables. Check all the brake and derailleur cables. Look for any fraying or nicks. If you see any, even what you think might be a slight amount, replace the cable. You don't want those breaking when you're out on a ride. Also check for tautness. You don't want to have to be pulling your brake handles down way too far in order to put your brakes on. If necessary, loosen the cable, then pull it through until it's taut, tighten it, and test things out again. And finally, number 6, check your shifting. You want to make sure that your rear derailleur shifts without any problems. Of course, you don't want your chain going off the cassette at either end. And when you change to another gear, it should be quick, and once it shifts, it should be silent. If you hear any noise, it may have to be adjusted either with the barrel adjustment or by adjusting the chain guide. There's a couple of screws to do that. So that's about it. Whether you do it yourself or have your local bike shop do it, there's nothing quite like the feel of a freshly tuned bike. Feels like it's brand new, and it might reinvigorate you to get out there and go for a ride. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. That will help get my videos more widely distributed. And hit that little notification bell so you're notified when I have a new video out. That's it for this ride. I'll see you next time. Thanks again. Bye-bye.